Hi there. Welcome back to Very Good Yoga with Billy. My name is Billy, and for today's class, all you're going to need is 2 blocks. But if you have a third block, or maybe a water bottle or something you could use as a prop, it might be helpful to have it somewhere near the back of the mat. Let's get started. Please come into a toe breaker pose. Now to get into toe breaker, tuck all 10 of your toes and begin to sit down on your heels. So for me, I always have to kind of fidget a little bit and get the pinky toe edge underneath me. And if you need to fidget or make any smaller adjustments, do your thing here. If this is too much too soon though, pitch forward so you take some of the weight out of your feet and toes. But if you're feeling pretty good about this today, keep your torso stacked over your hips. Close your eyes and begin to bring a little bit more awareness into the breath. Could you hug the outer leg in towards the inner leg? Maybe you want a little bit more. In which case, reach the arms up and overhead so that the biceps are alongside your ears. Reach your ring fingers up another centimeter or 2. Inhale. And on your exhale, cactus your arms, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and find an interlace at your lower back. If you have the interlace, reach your knuckles low, lift the heart and the chest up, and maybe look up and see where the wall meets the ceiling in front of you. For 5, 4, 3, for 2, tabletop on 1, and then untuck your toes and pat the tops of the feet out onto the floor. Downward facing dog, lift the hips up and back. And of course, with this first downward facing dog, maybe you pedal out the feet. Maybe you sway your heels side to side, so you start to get out or get into the sides of the waist and the hips as well. Look forward, and let's take a stroll. Heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe, your way into a forward fold at the top of the mat. Bend into your knees until the belly touches the thighs. And you might stay here, but if you'd like to take a ragdoll, bring the opposite hand to the opposite elbow, and maybe sway side to side. Keep your gaze at the back of the mat, and maybe find some movement in the neck. Shake your head left and right, up and down. Eventually, bring your hands back down to frame your feet. Keep a soft bend in the knees as you slowly roll up to stand for 5, 4, 3, for 2, Tadasana on 1. Press your feet really well into the floor and reach your fingertips down into the ground. Turn your palms forward, and on your next inhale, Urdhva, biceps are back alongside the ears. Hinge at your hips, forward fold is the out breath. Inhale, flat back, halfway lift. And then as you exhale, please step the right foot long and back to come into an active runner's lunge. So what an active runner's lunge means is that you're squeezing the feet together, almost like you could scrunch the yoga mat underneath you. Reach your right heel back, and then reach the crown of the head forward. Inhale to lengthen. Downward facing dog. Step your left foot next to the right foot. Inhale, look forward, shift forward, come into your plank pose. And as you exhale, lower all the way to the belly. Untuck your toes. Reach your arms back and set up for Shalabhasana. So lift your knees, lift your shoulders, lift your feet, and lift your hands. Find that same work we did in Tadasana, where the fingertips and the toe tips reach back, so the arms and legs stay straight. Continue to keep your arms lifted, reach them out, reach them forward so the biceps are alongside the ears. It's almost like you're holding a yoga block the long way in between the palms. And then continue to stay soft through the back of the neck. Breathe here for 5, 4, 3, for 2. Lower down on 1 and bring your hands by your shoulders. On your next inhale, cobra or an upward facing dog. Sorry about my cat. And then downward facing dog is the out breath. Send the hips up high. If she keeps doing this, she might have to see herself out. We'll see what happens. This is Binks, by the way. Got another one down here. You can't see him. He's out of the shot. Take a full breath in, downward facing dog. Non-empty, look forward, bend into the knees, hop, spring, or step, but come into a forward fold at the top of your mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, this fold. Inhale, come up to stand, Urdhva Hastasana. And then try to stay as tall as you are right now as you slowly lower your arms by the sides for a Tadasana. Turn your palms forward. Inhale, the arms go out and up. Lift the belly, hinge at your hips. Uttanasana fold. Inhale, flat back, crown of the head forward, shoulders away from your ears. Keep looking forward and step the left foot to the back of the mat for your active runner's lunge. So your hands are framing the front right foot. Squeeze the feet together, again like you could wrinkle the yoga mat. But straighten out the back left leg more. Inhale your heart forwards. To downward facing dog, step your right foot next to your left foot. Inhale, look forward, shift forward, plank pose. This time slowly lower for 3, for 2, all the way down on 1. Untuck your toes, reach your arms back, and set up for Shalabhasana. Lift your feet, your knees, your shoulders, and your hands. Straighten out the legs more and keep your big toes together to touch. Keep your arms lifted, reach them out, reach them forward, bring the biceps alongside the ears. Reach the fingertips away from the toe tips, and then reach the toe tips away from the fingertips. Stay soft in the back of the neck. Breathe for 5, 4, 3, for 2, lower down on 1 and bring your hands by your shoulders. Inhale finds your back bend, up dog or Cobra Pose. To downward facing dog, lift the hips up and back. Bring your feet a little closer together and please lift the left leg up into a 3-legged dog. Flex through the left foot, turn out the toes, and on your inhale, bend the knee and open up the hip. Notice if you're falling off to your right side. Hug the outer right hip in towards your center. And then roll the inner right thigh forward. Lift your left knee higher. Inhale. Knee in between the elbows. Step your left foot forward to your left thumb. And come into your simple twist. Reach the left arm out and up. Come up onto tented right fingertips. So you start to lift out of the right shoulder. Lift the inner right hip bone up. Keep hugging the outer left hip in. Inhale the top arm forwards to a supported warrior 3. Grab your block hands, bring them up to the highest height, and float the back right leg off the floor. So what I really like about supported warrior 3 is that you can actually put a little bit more weight into your hands. So all of a sudden, it's a little easier to straighten out and lift the right leg. Lift your shoulders higher than your hips. And on your next inhale, please lengthen. Cross-legged forward fold. Right foot behind the left foot so your pinky toes are together to touch. Right foot behind the left foot, pinky toes are together. And whenever we create this shape with the legs, keep a really soft bend in each of the knees. Keep the legs as you inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Keep the legs. Inhale, come up to stand. Reach the arms up. And then as you see your palms touch, come into a Tadasana with your feet either together or hips width distance apart and the arms by the side. So like just a good old-fashioned Tadasana. Turn your palms forward. Inhale, Urdhva. Exhale is fold. Inhale, flat back. Keep looking forward. Step the right foot back. Runner's lunge. This is just a quick inhale. To downward facing dog, step the left foot next to the right foot. Inhale, look forward, shift forward to plank pose. Keep looking forward, Chaturanga is the exhale. Inhale finds your back bend. Upward facing dog, straighten and lift the legs. Downward facing dog, send the hips up high. Bring your feet a little closer together and lift the right leg up into a three-legged dog. Flex through the right foot, turn out the toes, and on your inhale, please bend the knee and open up your hip. Keep hugging the left hip in and roll the inner left thigh forwards. Inhale the right knee up higher. Exhale, knee in between the elbows. Step your right foot forward to your right thumb. And meet me in your simple twist. So the right arm goes out and up. The left rib cage turns towards the inner right leg. And if this was good for you before, come up onto tented left fingertips. Could you lift the inner left hip bone up? So there's this effort where you're trying to stay squared through your hips. Inhale the top arm forwards to a supported warrior three. Grab your block hands, take them up to the highest height, and float your left leg off the floor. And again, really intentionally, I want you to put a little extra weight into these block hands of yours. So you can lift and straighten out your left leg. Lift your shoulders higher than your hips. Maybe you can start to get light through your hands on the floor. Inhales, lengthen. Do a cross-legged forward fold, left foot behind the right foot, pinky toes will come together to touch. Keep a really soft bend in each of your knees. Inhale, flat back. Exhale is fold. Keep your legs, inhale, come up to stand, reach the arms up high. See your palms touch and meet me in a conventional Tadasana with your feet either together or hips width distance apart and the fingertips reaching to the floor. Turn your palms forward. Inhale, Urdhva. Exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, flat back, Ardha Uttanasana. Keep looking forward. Step the left foot long and back. Runner's lunge, quick inhale. To downward facing dog, step the right foot back. Inhale, look forward, shift forward, plank pose. Biceps forward, triceps back as you chaturanga lower halfway. Inhale finds your back bend, upward facing dog. And as you exhale, take it back into your downward facing dog. Bring your feet a little closer together and lift the left leg up into a three-legged dog. Flex through the left foot, turn out the toes. Inhale, bend the knee, open up your hip. Exhale, knee in between the elbows, but stay here. So the knee and the foot are lifted. Press into the palms, so it's like the floor is pressing back at you. And keep looking forward. Keep reaching the left knee in between the biceps. 5, 4, 3, For 2, step your left foot forward on 1 and pause in runner's lunge. Put your left hand on top of your left thigh. And meet me in a prayer twist to the left. Connect the right elbow outside of the left thigh. And then if it's appropriate, bring your palms together to touch. Straighten out the back right leg more and lift up through the inner right hip bone. Inhale the heart forwards. Supported warrior 3. Grab your block hands and float the right leg off the floor. Inhale, lengthen the heart forwards. To a cross-legged forward fold, right foot behind the left foot so the pinky toes are together. A little bit of repetition. Inhale, flat back. Exhale to fold. Inhale, come up to stand, reach the arms up high. This time, keep your legs exactly as they are, but lower your arms down by the side. So you're in a cross-legged Tadasana at this time. Keep your right foot on the floor. And without using your hands, begin to lift the left knee up into the belly. Place your right hand on your left shin, thigh, or foot and come into an Utthita. So if I were to grab my foot in this pose, it would look like this. And you can see how I'm like sticking my butt back. I'm not really doing a good job of standing up tall. But when I grab onto my shin, I'm able to keep that length from the floor to my ears. And my point is, I don't care if and how you're modifying, just stand up straight. Keep the hand on the leg, but start to loosen your grip. So the hand is still in contact with the leg, but all of a sudden you notice how much effort the leg and the hip have to do to stay lifted. Reach the right arm in front of you, so it's almost like you're doing warrior 2 in the upper body. Warrior 2. Step the left foot long and back. And check in. Measure your stance and make sure that the hands and the wrists are over the feet and the ankles. Go down with your legs and your hips. But then could you lift up and out of the belly? Inhale, reverse. And as you exhale, step back into plank pose and then lower halfway, Chaturanga. Inhale finds your back bend, upward facing dog. And as you exhale, take it back and come into your downward facing dog. Bring your feet a little closer together and lift the right leg up into a 3-legged dog. Flex with the right foot, turn out the toes, and on an inhale, bend the knee to open up your hip. Exhale, knee in between the elbows, stay here. So this is going to be some of our core work today. Flex with the right foot and try to drive the knee forward beyond the biceps. Press into your palms. Look forward with your eyes. For 5, 4, 3, for 2, step your right foot forward on 1. Put your right hand on top of your right thigh. And meet me in your prayer twist to the right. So the left elbow connects outside of the right thigh and the palms continue to press together well. Lift the inner left hip bone up and reach your left heel back. Reach the tips of the ears forward, almost like you're doing a flat back in your torso. Full breath in. Supported warrior 3 on the out breath. Grab your block hands, the highest of heights, and float the back left leg off the floor. Keep hugging the right hip in. Lift and straighten the left leg more. Inhale to lengthen to your cross-legged forward fold on the out breath. Bring the left foot behind the right foot. Keep a soft bend in your knees. Inhale, flat back. Exhale to fold. Keep the legs crossed. Inhale, come up to stand. Reach the arms up high. And then your legs stay the same as your arms lower by your side. So we're in a cross-legged Tadasana this time. And again, without using your hands, begin to lift the right knee into the belly. So the left foot stays on your mat. Utthita C. Grab on for your shin, your thigh, or maybe your foot. So the right arm reaches back. And this is usually where I'm in this pose and I can see myself in my camera, so I know I could straighten out my standing leg more. Level. Press the left foot down and lift the ears up, up, up into the ceiling. Start to get light through your left hand. And then when you're ready, reach the left arm forward. So it's almost like you're doing Warrior 2 in the torso. Warrior 2. Step the right foot to the back of your mat. And check in with your length. Make sure that the hands and the wrists are over the feet and the ankles. Keep bending into the front knee. Keep going down with your legs and hips. And then up out of the belly, the ribs, the shoulders, and the ears. Inhale, reverse, stay light in your right hand. And as you exhale, plank to Chaturanga, lower halfway. Inhale finds your back bend, upward facing dog. And as you exhale, downward facing dog for 5 breaths. Okay, so I want to do one round of a Sun B with you folks, just one. But I want to emphasize linking breath to movement. So one breath, one movement. Here we go. Inhale. On empty, look forward, bend into the knees, hop, spring, or step to a forward fold at the top of the mat. And right away, inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Bend deep into your knees. Inhale, chair pose. Lift the heart and the chest up high. Look forwards. Bring your hands to prayer at the heart. Come up to stand. And meet me in the Tadasana with the arms by the sides. Bend deep into your knees. Sweep the floor with the fingertips. Inhale, chair pose. Forward fold is the out breath. Bring your hands down to frame your feet. Inhale, flat back, prepares you for Chaturanga. Keep looking forward, keep reaching the heart forward as you Chaturanga lower halfway. Inhale finds your back bend. Lift the thighs into the ceiling. Downward facing dog, send the hips up and back. Please step your right foot forward to your right thumb and meet me in Warrior 1. Inhale, come up to stand. Chaturanga is the out breath, lower halfway. Inhale to come up into your back bend, upward facing dog, legs are engaged. To your downward facing dog, send the hips up high. Please step your left foot forward, ground your right heel down. Warrior 1, inhale. Chaturanga is the exhale. At the bottom of your exhale, inhale to back bend, upward facing dog. And at the top of your inhale, exhale to your downward facing dog. 5 breaths. So reach your heels down to the floor. Press your thighs back into your hamstrings. And then can you lift your butt up a little bit more? Lift the left leg up into a 3-legged dog. So this time I want to ask you to keep the left leg straight and essentially do the work of Warrior 3 with your lifted leg. To get into a standing split at the top of the mat, take a full breath in. On empty, look forward, bend and bounce into your right knee. Hop your right foot to your right thumb, standing split. Into a runner's lunge, step the left foot to the back of the mat. So just to check in, your right foot is forward and the left foot is behind you. Squeeze the feet together like you're going to scrunch the yoga mat underneath you. And begin to look forward with your eyes in your chest. Reach your arms, reach your fingertips back, just like we did in Shalabhasana earlier today. And then reach the arms out. Reach the arms forward and bring the biceps alongside the ears. To come into Warrior 3, imagine that I am pulling you forward by your wrists and your forearms so that the left leg lifts up and off the floor. And guys, I just want to point out, I'm modifying because I have this wall in front of me. But ideally, I want your arms out in front of you, just like we did in our belly earlier today. Turn the left big toe down into the floor and hug the outer right hip into the body. Inhale the heart forwards. Keep your left leg lifted, and on your exhale, pendulum it down, pendulum it forward, pendulum it up, Utthita A. Inhale when you get to the top. Keep the left leg lifted, and as you exhale, pendulum it down, pendulum it back, pendulum it up. Make a pit stop in Warrior 3 to a revolved half moon. Put your left hand on a yoga block, the highest of heights, and reach the right arm skywards into the ceiling. Press into your left hand almost like you would do in a side plank, so you can create more length across your chest and arms. Wrap the outer right hip back. Lift your left leg up a little bit more. Let's take an inhale to a forward fold as you exhale. Both feet and both hands find the floor. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, step the right foot back, runner's lunge. Into a straddle fold. Walk your hands over to the right. And parallel your feet with the short edges of the mat. Inhale, flat back. Hands on your hips. Press your feet down and come up to stand. Turn your right toes to the back of the room, so what is normally the back of the mat. Turn your left toes in and up the mat, and eventually reach the index fingers away from one another. Hinge at your right hip and meet me in Trigonosana triangle pose. So the hand finds your shin, or maybe a block outside of the front right foot. That's what that third block is there for today, you guys. Reach your right hip down towards your left heel. Reach the left arm up into the air. And maybe that's where you stay. But if you want a little bit more, like if you want to work the neck, bring your right eyeball up to your left thumb. I'm just going to see our friend out real quick. Excuse me. Sorry, Banks. 2 more breaths. Okay, now stay here. And reach the top arm forward. Rebend into your right knee. Go a little bit longer in your stance and come into an extended side angle. Lean your left shoulder back more here. So there's a twist happening in the upper body. Press your thighs back and your butt forward into your pelvis. Inhale to lengthen. And as you exhale, come into a plank pose. Step your right foot next to your left foot. Tadasana A on the left side. Come into side plank and reach the right arm up into the ceiling. If you want a modification, you could lower the left knee down. But in your side plank, do the work of Tadasana. Reach your heels back and your ears forward. Inhale, swim the top arm forward. And as you exhale, plank to Chaturanga. Vinyasa, downward facing dog. But at this point, guys, if you want to skip a push-up or two, feel free to skip a push-up or two. This could even be like a Chaturanga-less practice, like if you really wanted to. Depending on what kind of day you're having. Let's see, what are we doing? Lift the right leg up into a three-legged dog. And again, do the work of Warrior 3 with your lifted right leg. Full breath in. On empty, look forward, bend and bounce into the left knee, and try to hop your left foot to your left thumb for a standing split. Folks, if you don't get all the way, it's not a big deal. Maybe you just have to finagle a little bit when you get there. Runner's lunge, step the right foot to the back of the mat. Excuse me. So the left foot's in front of you and the right foot's behind you. Squeeze your feet together, activate your legs. Look forward with your eyes in your chest and reach your fingertips back. Keep your arms straight, reach them out, reach them forward, and bring the biceps alongside the ears. Imagine I'm pulling you forward by your wrists as we come up into Virabhadrasana 3, Warrior 3, with the arms out in front of you. Lift your shoulders higher than your hips. Hug your left hip in and turn the right big toe to point down into the floor. Inhales, lengthen. Keep the right leg lifted. Exhale, pendulum it down, pendulum it forward, pendulum it up. Make a pit stop in Utthita. And then on an out breath, pendulum the right leg down, back, up. Make a pit stop in Warrior 3. Revolve, half moon. Bring your right hand to a block or whatever kind of prop you might be using back there today. It's okay if you use the floor. It's also okay if you want to turn around and grab one of your props. Press the right hand down well, almost like you were doing a side plank. Lift the right leg up an inch or two. Inhale to lengthen. Forward fold is the exhale. Step your right foot on the floor and frame your feet. Inhale, flat back. And as you exhale, step the left foot back, runner's lunge, into a straddle. Straighten out both of your legs and parallel your feet with the short edges of your mat. Press your feet down, inhale, flat back. Hands on your hips, lead with your chest and come up to stand. Okay. Turn your left toes forward and your right toes slightly in. Reach the index fingers away from one another so we create this length in our upper body. Hinge at your left hip and begin to come into Trigonosana, triangle pose. So we start with the length when we're up. And then really nothing, or not much at least, to change about the upper body as you fold. So it's the left hip that hinges. It's the left hip that reaches down towards your right heel. But your back leg is essentially doing the work of a Tadasana, so the hip firms into the body. Pretty cool, right? Reach the right arm forward. I think it's cool. I hope you do too. Extended side angle. Rebend into the left knee and reach the arm away from the foot. So it's like the right arm and the hand are trying to get as far away from your back foot as possible. And that's what creates the length on the right side. Turn your heart center up into the ceiling. And hug the outer left hip in. One more breath. As you exhale, plank pose. Plant your palms and step your left foot next to your right foot. Keep your right hand down and come into side plank. Vashisthasana. Reach the left arm up into the ceiling. Reach your heels back. Reach your ears forward. Press the butt into the pelvis, and on your next inhale, swing the top arm forwards. Exhale, plank to Chaturanga. Vinyasa, downward facing dog. Into a child's pose. Drop your knees either together or hips width distance apart. Take rest. Maybe you need to wipe some sweat, drink some water. Just take a moment here to ground. Take a moment to even the inhales, even the exhales. And then take that inventory. And whatever that might be, maybe it is just noticing how your spine rounds in this shape, in this child's pose. Maybe you just notice the sweat in between your clothing and your skin. Maybe you notice the sweat that's currently building up in your glasses. For 5. 4. For 3. For 2, please meet me in downward facing dog on 1. Plant your palms, tuck your toes, and lift the hips up high. So if you haven't noticed today, like this whole sequence, we've just been like building and building and building one series on top of another. So a little bit different with this last one, but also a little bit familiar. Please lift your left leg up into a 3-legged dog. Straighten the left leg as much as you can and take a full breath in. On empty, look forward, bend into the right knee, and try to hop your right foot to your right thumb for a standing split. We're actually going to do that 2 more times. Landing with the bent right knee, please hop back into a 3-legged dog. Full breath in. On empty, look forward, bend into the right knee, hop your right foot to your right thumb, standing split. And then landing with the bent right knee, please hop it back and come into a 3-legged dog. Full breath in. On empty, look forward, bend into the right knee, hop your right foot to your right thumb, standing split. Into a runner's lunge, step your left foot to the back of the mat. So a pit stop runner's lunge. That will take us into an eagle pose. Bring your left leg over the right leg. And then wrap your left arm underneath the right arm for a full expression of Tadasana. Could you bend into the standing leg more? So it's almost like you're doing the work of chair pose in the right leg. And then go up and forwards with the arms, the same amount that you just went down and back with your legs and hips. 2 to 3 more breaths. Soften your eyes, soften your face. Inhale. Cross-legged forward fold is the exhale. Left foot in front of the right foot, and then let go of your arms. Bring them onto either the floor or maybe your blocks. Inhale, flat back. And as you exhale, step the right foot to the back of the mat. And let's come into a straddle pose. Straighten out your legs and parallel your feet with the short edges of your space. Let's stay in this one a little bit longer. Walk the heels of the hands back so that they're in line with the heels of the feet. Bend into your elbows, almost like you're doing Chaturanga in the arms. And to keep the back bend and the forward bend, draw the shoulders away from the ears. Press your feet down to inhale, flat back. Hands on your hips, lead with your chest, and come all the way up to stand. Turn your right toes to the back of the mat. Turn your left toes slightly in and up the mat and reach your index fingers away from one another. Stay upright for a second. We're going to add on here. Half bind left hand to the inner right hip. Externally rotate at the right shoulder, so turn your right palm up into the ceiling, almost like you're going to serve someone a cup of coffee. And then bring your right eyeball to the back of your room over your left shoulder. Pull your right hip back to hinge into this slightly more demanding variation of triangle pose. Press the feet down and reach out of your right waist. Rebend to the front right knee. Keep everything you have going on in the upper body. And come into a half or a full bound extended side angle. So the right arm weaves up and underneath the front right thigh if you're going for the bind. You're still twisting the chest up and hugging the right hip underneath you, probably even more so if you have the bind. And if you have the half bind, totally cool. Maybe use your left hand to pull and roll the shoulder open more. Inhale to lengthen. And on your exhale, please step into a plank pose. Right foot next to the left foot. Side plank on your left side. Reach the right arm up into the ceiling. Again, maybe this is where you stay. But if you'd like to explore a one-armed plank pose, bring your right hand by your side, almost like you're in Tadasana. Look at your yoga mat, tuck all 10 of your toes, one-arm plank pose. So I think the key to being successful in a one-arm plank is to bring your feet out wider. For 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, plank to Chaturanga, Vinyasa, or you skip it. Downward facing dog, please. And if you need a modification for a one-armed plank, just do a regular plank. Like if plank is already really hard for you, why make it more hard? Last side. Lift the right leg up into a three-legged dog, please. Take a full breath in, and then on empty, look forward, bend into your left knee, and try to hop your left foot to your left thumb, standing split. Landing with the bent left knee, please hop it back and come into a three-legged dog. It's an inhale. On empty, look forward, bend the left knee, try to hop your left foot to left thumb, standing split. And then landing with the bent left knee, please take it back and come into a three-legged dog. Last one, inhale. On empty, look forward, bend into the left knee, hop your left foot to left thumb, standing split. And then for a moment, step it back into a runner's lunge. All right, let's set up for eagle pose. So the left foot is in front of you, and the right leg will wrap over the left. Right arm underneath the left arm, Tadasana. Bend into your standing leg. Sit the butt down like a chair. And then just as low as you got with your legs and hips, can you go up the same amount with the arms, the elbows, the palms, and the shoulders? Soften your face and take about 2 to 3 more breaths. Inhale. Cross-legged forward fold is the exhale. So let go of your arms and bring the right leg in front of the left with the pinky toes together. Inhale as your flat back. And on your exhale, step the left foot back, runner's lunge. Into your straddle pose. Straighten out both of your legs and parallel your feet with the short edges of the mat. Walk the heels of the hands back so that they're in line with the heels of the feet. And then bend into the elbows, almost like you would do in Chaturanga. So the arms pull you deeper into your fold. Reach the crown of the head to the floor and lift the shoulder blades down the backs away from the ears. So even though it's a forward bend, you're still doing the work of a back bend here, you guys. Press your feet down. Inhale, flat back. Hands on your hips. Lead with your chest and come up to stand. Okay. Turn your left toes forward. And then I haven't mentioned this yet. I definitely should have earlier. I like to go a little shorter with my triangle stance, about one leg's distance. But you could go long. You could even go shorter. Yogi's choice, folks. Reach the index fingers away from one another. So you establish the length in the chest and collarbone first. Right hand finds a half bind over the lower back. Left palm turns up. Maybe if this was interesting before, the left eyeball looks over the right shoulder. Hinge at your left hip and please come into this slightly more demanding variation of triangle pose. Like sometimes, I teach yoga, right? Like it's what I do. But sometimes I feel like a Simon Says instructor. Left hand here, right hand there. Look there, feet down. 2 more breaths. But do press your feet down. Bend into the front left knee. And then go for a half or potentially a full bind. With the left arm up and underneath the front left leg. Press your feet down. Straighten out the back leg more. And breathe. Smooth and steady breaths, folks. Inhale. Plank pose is the exhale. Step your left foot next to the right foot. And come into side plank on your right hand. Reach the left arm up and into the ceiling. If you're interested in that one-arm plank pose, place your left hand on your left hip. And then tuck all 10 of your toes. Remember, in order for this to be successful, you got to bring your feet a little bit wider here, guys. For 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Plank to Chaturanga, Vinyasa. Take it back into your downward facing dog. On your next inhale, look forward, shift forward to come into plank pose. Exhale, lower all the way to the belly. So we're going to do 2 back bends down here today. And the first one we've actually done already a couple times. Reach your arms back and set up for Shalabhasana. Lift your knees, lift your shoulders, your feet, and your hands. Reach your fingertips and toe tips as far back as you can. And then maybe this is where you stay. If you're interested in taking a bow pose, grab the outer edges of your feet and kick well into your hands. Lift the thighs off the floor. And then could you try to get your feet as the highest part of your body up in the air? Shalabhasana, inhale. And as you exhale, bring your left cheek down, look to the right, and rest for a moment here. Maybe shimmy your hips side to side, maybe windshield wiper the legs. Whatever you think would feel good for you here. I don't know if this pose at this shape has a name, but I like to think about it as beached whale pose, because that's how it makes me feel. You guys remember beaches? If you guys don't know, I'm in Massachusetts and it's currently early March, so Beaches aren't quite here yet. I hope you're somewhere warmer taking this class. Come back through center and let's come back into Shalabhasana. Lift your knees, your feet, your shoulders, and your hands. Maybe this is where you stay. But if that bow pose was good to you before, maybe you find it again here. If you want a little bit more in this bow shape, walk your hands down your shins closer to your knees. That's technically up the shins, but walk your hands closer to your knees, away from your heels, and then kick your feet up higher. Shalabhasana without slingshotting the legs. Take an inhale. Right cheek down, look to the left. Beach whale pose. Maybe you shimmy the hips side to side. Or if you did this before, feel free to massage and windshield wiper the legs. Okay. Bring your face and your hands back through center. So the hands are by the shoulders and ribs. Move through a child's pose. Sink your hips to your heels. And then meet me back in a downward facing dog. Plant your palms and lift the hips up high. We'll just take a moment in this downward facing dog to neutralize the spine. So the butt is lifting up and back, but the crown of the head reaches down and forward to the floor. Please bring your right leg into a pigeon pose. So the right knee will land outside of the right wrist. The right foot is underneath the left hip bone. And then unless you're staying upright on purpose, walk your hands forward and fold. It'll take a minute here, give or take. Could you reach your right hip back towards your left heel? Could you reach your left hip forward towards your right foot? And then even though you are folding, assuming you're folding at least, lift out of your belly. Take a few more breaths. So I always think it's really helpful to resist the urge to fidget when I have something to do in the pose. And it might be something small like wrap the hip back or just focusing on the breath. And I feel like you could even call that in itself a fidget, but it is a mindful fidget and it keeps us present and it still keeps us on the mat. Inhales, lengthen. And then as you exhale, walk your hands into the body, upright your chest. Sit down on your right side, swing your left leg around and forward, and then the right leg behind you to set up for the second side. We're back in pigeon pose, guys. Left knee is outside of the left wrist. Left foot is underneath the right hip bone. And then again, unless you're staying upright intentionally, walk your hands forward and fold, where we will hold and just breathe for a minute. Notice if you're doing anything funny with your hands, your face, and your shoulders. Reach your left hip back towards the right heel, and the right hip forward towards the inside of the left foot. Take 5 more really good deep belly breaths. Same length, same strength. breath in. And as you exhale, come up onto your hands. Sit down on your left hip. Swing both of the legs around and forward in front of you. Reach the arms out, and with control, lie down on your back. Hug your knees into your belly. And scoot your hips significantly over to the left. Simple twist over to the right. Maybe the gaze goes over the left hand. Maybe the right hand rests on top of the left leg. We'll take about 2 or 3 more breaths. Almost like you're moving through molasses. Can you start to come back through center? Shift your hips all the way over to the right, like significantly. And then find a simple twist to the left. Right shoulder stays down. And if it does not bother your neck, look over your right hand. I feel like this is always the time where a lot of people start to check out from practice. But I think the cool down is possibly more important, if not equally important, than a lot of the meat and potatoes stuff that we do in our standing flows and our planks and our effort, right? You know, yoga is all about finding balance. And the way that we come up with these classes is we warm up, we move, we sweat, and then we cool down and sort of tie it all together in a way. Come back through center. And we'll finish with a happy baby. Grab on for the shins, maybe the feet. My beef with people grabbing the feet is I feel like they often do this, right? You can see how there's some space between my butt and the floor. I like shins because I would feel for most students with tighter hips, it really goes a long way with getting the butt down on the floor. And maybe you just try that for a second, and then you walk your hands up to your feet. All of a sudden you realize you're doing this thing you had no idea you were doing. We'll meet in Shavasana. And for Shavasana today, I think it would feel really nice to take a Supta Baddha Konasana with the feet together and the knees wide with blocks underneath the legs. But that being said, that might not be your idea of a good time, right? In which case, just take something a little bit more conventional, or really just take whatever it is that you'd like today. Close your eyes and begin to settle down into your stillness. Full breath in. As you open up the mouth, exhale clears it away. No more work. No more effort. Shavasana. to leave Shavasana, begin to deepen the breath and invite some smaller movements back into the body. Wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes, the hands, and eventually the feet. Bend into the knees, step the feet down onto the floor. And using the right arm as a pillow, please roll off to the right into a fetal position. So just taking an extra moment to rest on your floor. Keeping the eyes closed. And using as little effort as possible, please make your way up into a comfortable seat facing the front, facing your monitors. To seal in your practice, please bring your hands to a prayer position at your heart. Guiding the thumb knuckles up and into your sternum. Please invite a full breath in. Open up the mouth, exhale, clears it away. If you would like, please join me for one sound of Om. Full inhale. Om. Thumb knuckles to your forehead, your third eye center. Thank you for sharing your practices with me today. Go in peace. Namaste. Thank you, yogis. That is it for me for today, but thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe. As always, if you have questions, comments, concerns, or even feedback, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. And that's it. I hope to see you guys soon, and thank you so much. Bye.